Hey everybody, we're going to talk about ProPresenter, and I'm going to give you a quick tour and how we do things here at Antioch. Obviously, ProPresenter is a super flexible program that can do so many different things. It can help you stream, it can help you display lyrics, it can help you play videos, all those kind of things. We have a basic sort of certain way that we do things. You can obviously do them differently, but I think the way that we do things has kind of grown over time, and we've learned some things that work well and some things that are easier. And so I'm going to show you those things. Okay, so first of all, let's take a tour of the interface. So obviously this is ProPresenter. Over here, upper left, we have libraries. In ProPresenter 6, we did not have these libraries. Essentially, the documents split out into different types. We have service segments here, and we obviously have a ton of service segments. We also have songs, and then we have some bilingual songs. One thing, if we want to create a new document, we can click this plus and do new presentation. Generally, though, the easiest thing that I've found is just recreate or just reuse documents that you have already used. For example, we're going to build a college service, and if I go down here and search for college welcome segment, I've got these three things in sort of the announcements or whatever needs to go up on the screen. And if I needed to wipe those out, I just select them, click in a empty spot, drag over, and delete those, and then just add more. We don't need to have a bunch of different documents like we do here, showing every single date. So anyway, here are the segments, here are the songs, and these are basically your files, bilingual. The playlist is kind of the set of like the setup of the entire service. So we'll generally use ProPresenter to build that. So I'm going to launch ProPresenter over here. I'm sorry, Planning Center. And it should be logged in to the tech account. And so if we go into college and we take a look at last week, and I click in here, we've got kind of our headers here: pre-service, start service, worship, message, ministry, and then we've got different songs in here, and we might have some of these things correspond to a document, like a service segment, and a lot of these obviously will correspond to song segments. So if we look at this, here's a college welcome. Well, we kind of have two things here: rest on us and King of Kings on the cross, and then we might have a spontaneous or something. We've got a message, which is here, in touch of heaven, and then the closing, anything we need to show on the screen for closing. Okay, so these are split out by headers. The headers are useful to kind of visually break up things, but also create clocks, and we'll talk about that. So that'll work for the sake of showing your people how long they have left in the segment that they're in. Okay, so each of these, if I click on, I'm going to launch, I'm going to see what that file is. Notice that that came out of songs, and then if I click on it, it's obviously going to show. We've got a lot of things over here. This is, we'll just generally leave these as 0.3 of a second for fade. And then here's an interesting way to look. If you have a really wordy document, sometimes it's easier to look at it just in the easy mode, or if you have old eyes like mine. Finally, over here we have the preview, and if I want to change to see what everyone is seeing on stage, I can flip over to stage screen, and then I can clear out. And these are different attributes of the layers of the slides. So in ProPresenter 6, we had this idea of media and of slide, but it wasn't super clear how that works. Now ProPresenter actually splits those things out a little bit, and in fact, you still have foreground and background and media, and those will interact interestingly. For example, if you have backgrounds on slides versus foreground, and I'll explain that later. All right, well, let's finish up with the toolbar. Okay, starting over here at search. this is a quick way to look for a certain song. So this is going to search my library, which is those segments and songs. So if I look at How He Loves, there it is. Let's say we just spontaneously went to that, or I didn't know the name of the song, but I knew what they were singing. I could type that in, then launch this and say open. I'm there. Okay, and then I'm going to clear. Also, the function keys correspond to clear. So if you want to clear all, which is this one, clear all the layers, F1 is going to do that. The slide layer, I believe, is F2. And then I think the media layer is F3. Okay. Then if you're a keyboard person like me, I am going to press Command F to launch that slide, the search. I can also, if I don't have if I don't have the right song in the library, I can search song select. So this is a lot better than searching Google, because these are the actual lyrics. This is like a database that we pay for. And I can bring up John Mark McMillan if I don't have that already in the library. And then I can import that. And if I click import, there's a bunch of things here. It'll show which library. Obviously, I would want this to go into songs. And I might want it to go straight into the playlist I'm using. And then if I choose my theme, I would be on Worship 4 Lines. We'll talk about themes in a second. And you can delimit. You generally, you're going to do paragraph break, 1 delimiter, and that will work for you. You can even click edit and edit it completely before you pull it into the library, although this window isn't that easy to work with. I would suggest just pull it in and then do some other things with it. So we talked about themes. When I have a segment or a song selected, I can apply a theme to it quickly. So here I can jump into, I have the specialized 00 Antioch theme. You have a bunch of other ones you can use. If I click into that, I've got Worship 4 Lines. I've got the caps version and the non-cap version. So if I click on that, obviously it only reformatted. It didn't change anything about the wording. So I can go back to caps. And I'll use, for the message, I'll use something called message, which is kind of a bigger text box. All right, continuing on, show. Show matters only when you go into the edit mode of one of these things. So for example, if I need to edit this, I can actually go in, change something, reformat, whatever I want to do. I'm going to italicize those. Now I can't show this. I am not in like show slides mode. You have to click over here to get back to that. Now you technically could click this show and stay in the edit mode, but just know if you're in any of these modes, you need to click show to get back to life. All right, and then reflow is a way to essentially take a long section of text, like in a message, for example, this 2 Samuel passage, and split it up without having to cut, paste, create new slides, all that stuff. You can literally just create slide breaks here, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Again, if you want to show this, you're going to go back, click, and clear. The Bible, we're going to talk about how to create message documents there. All right, let's continue on over. Here's a preview, here's the clear, and then finally we've got the media tab, which is right here. So if I click on the media tab, that's going to show me sort of video and graphic and picture documents that I can then drag into my documents that are in the library here. So for example, I've got all these guys that I can add. So I can just click and drag this in as a logo file and just make sure that it's so much easier to drag them in than from that instead of from services or something like that. Okay, media is off. All right, that's the tour of the interface.